What if I told you that a century-long pact between Christ and Satan has just ended, and the world is now standing on the edge of a spiritual showdown? Sounds unbelievable? Let me take you back to the very moment it all began and why everything happening now is no coincidence. Brothers and sisters, today I speak to you not with mere words, but with a heart fully exposedra, sincere, and burning with urgency. What I'm about to share with you is not just a teaching meant to pass by your ears unnoticed. It's not a quiet reflection to be forgotten in the next few minutes. No, this is something far more profound. It is a heavenly cry, a divine warning tearing through the noise of our time like a trumpet in the dead of night. This is a call to wake up, a call to vigilance, to prayer, to prepare for battle, not a battle of nations, but of souls. Because something is happening in the world today, something enormous. And while many people remain unaware and others choose to look away, the truth can no longer be ignored. The time Satan was granted to roam freely and deceive humanity, that time has come to an end. Yes, you heard that right. The 100 years are over. And now, we are standing at the brink of an epic turning point. Let me be clear. I'm not speaking about the end of the world. Don't jump to conclusions. What I'm referring to is something even more mysterious, more profound, the fulfillment of a divine promise. The very one revealed at Fatima, the triumph of the Immaculate Heart of Mary. But before that victory bursts forth like dawn after the longest night, there's still a battle ahead. A spiritual war that will shape the destiny of many. To grasp the full magnitude of what we're experiencing, we must take a step back in time to the year 1884. Picture it, a seemingly ordinary day in the Vatican. Pope Leo XIII had just finished celebrating Holy Mass. As usual, he turned to give thanks to God, but then something strange happened. His face suddenly went pale, his expression froze. Witnesses later described him as completely still, as if trapped in a trance for a full 10 minutes. 10 minutes of total silence. When he finally moved again, his eyes were haunted. Without speaking a single word, he rose and rushed to his private study. There, with trembling hands, he penned one of the most powerful prayers the Church has ever known, the exorcism prayer to Saint Michael the Archangel. A spiritual shield against a storm that was about to be unleashed. But what did he see in that vision? According to accounts shared later, Pope Leo XIII had witnessed a chilling conversation between Jesus Christ and Satan. The devil, filled with arrogance, declared that he could destroy the Church God's sacred work on earth if only he were given more power and more time, and Christ, with deep solemnity, responded, "You will have the time. You will have the power, but you will not prevail." Satan had asked for a century 100-year to test humanity, to unleash chaos and deception across the globe, and astonishingly, that request was granted. In that moment, the Pope understood something terrifying. The world was about to enter an era unlike anything seen before, an age where darkness would have unprecedented influence. That's why he wrote the exorcism prayer not as a reaction, but as a warning, a weapon of light for the days of growing darkness. But this wasn't just a one-time vision. It was the beginning of a prophesioni that would ripple through history, silently unfolding in the decades to follow. So, when did this century of testing begin? According to numerous mystics, theologians, and spiritual scholars, the answer is crystal clear: 1917. And that's no accident. That year was not just another chapter in history, it was a spiritual crossroads. 1917 was the year the Virgin Mary appeared in Fatima, Portugal, to three simple shepherd children, Lucia, Francisco, and Jacinta. She didn't come with gentle whispers or vague poetry. No, she came with an urgent message, a heavenly alarm bell, a warning that Satan was about to unleash a time of unprecedented trial on earth. And history confirms her words, because in that same year, the Russian Revolution exploded, violent upheaval that birthed an ideology of state atheism, aimed squarely at erasing God from society. Communism began its dark spread, leading to the closure of churches, the silencing of faith, and the martyrdom of countless Christians. But the Virgin's message didn't stop there. She gave those young visionaries a prophecia divine roadmap. She warned of terrifying consequences if humanity failed to return to God. Yet even in her warning, she offered a ray of hope, the promise of eventual victory, the promise of her Immaculate Heart's triumph. Thus began the century of Satan, a time when evil forces would be allowed to act more freely, seducing, confusing, and destroying. And since that moment, in 1917, the world has never been the same. But what exactly did the Virgin say? What was her true mission in coming to Fatima? Did she come to declare the end? Her purpose was greater. She came to prepare us, to ready our souls for the final spiritual confrontation, the great battle between divine light and the forces of infernal darkness. Her words were not ambiguous. They were clear, urgent, and they still echo today. Earlier, we uncovered the mysterious events of 1917, the year the Virgin Mary appeared in Fatima and warned of a century of darkness to come. But she didn't just speak of trials. She also gave a roadmap with grave warnings and a powerful promise. So, what exactly did she say would happen if humanity ignored her call? According to the Virgin's message, if humanity refused to turn back to God, 3 devastating things would unfold. First, there would be another World War I, far more catastrophic than the first. And indeed, that came true between 1939 and 1945. World War II brought unimaginable horrors, tens of millions dead, entire cities reduced to rubble, and human suffering on a scale few could have imagined. Second, she warned of the spread of the errors of Russia, what we now recognize as militant communism, aggressive atheism, and brutal persecution of the faithful. This dark ideology would grow like a shadow stretching across continents, choking freedom and silencing the voice of truth. And it did. From Eastern Europe to Asia, it suffocated entire nations under its weight. Third, she foretold the annihilation of entire nations. This haunting prediction found reflection in some of the darkest moments of the 20th century: the Holocaust, the genocides, the rise and fall of dictatorships, and the terrifying force of the atomic bomb unleashed with devastating finality in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. These weren't isolated tragedies, they were warnings made real. But the Virgin did not leave us in despair. In the same breath that she warned us, she also gave us hope. In the end, my Immaculate Heart will triumph. Yes, despite the thickening darkness, despite the fire and the blood, the promise remained: light will have the final word, the dawn will come. But before that glorious victory, a long trial had to take place. A century of struggle, 100 years, where Satan would be granted power to test the faith of humanity. And that time, dear friends, was our time. We have lived through it. We are witnesses to it. Evil has not been sleeping, it has worked tirelessly to tear us away from God, to divide families, to desecrate what is sacred. And the signs of this century of spiritual warfare are all around us, visible to anyone brave enough to face them. Think back. 2 world wars left the earth soaked in blood and sorrow. Nations and families were shattered. The Holocaust exposed the unthinkable cruelty humans are capable of when they abandon the divine. The atomic bomb revealed the terrifying power of science when stripped of moral conscience. Dictatorships, communist, fascist, Nazi, all rose like beasts from the abyss, crushing human dignity beneath boots of tyranny. But the enemy didn't stop at violence. The assault continued deeper, subtler, into the very soul of humanity. Faith collapsed in Europe, once the heartland of Christianity. Churches now stand empty, their silence a stark contrast to centuries of sacred song. Christian values are openly mocked, dismissed as outdated relics of a forgotten past. Abortion, unthinkable, has been legalized in country after country, transforming the womb, once the most sacred sanctuary of life, into a battleground of death. Marriage, a divine covenant, has been redefined, deconstructed, stripped of its holy meaning. The family, the cornerstone of civilization, is under relentless attack from ideologies that seek to erase identity and truth. Pornography, once hidden in the shadows, now floods every corner of our world, poisoning minds, especially the young. An entire generation wanders through a fog of confusion, starved of meaning, drowning in noise and numbness. Even within the Church itself, the battle rages. As Pope Paul VI once said, "The smoke of Satan has entered the Church. Scandals, divisions, heresies, and silence have clouded the sanctuary." Priests and bishops, meant to be shepherds, have at times lost their way, leaving the faithful bewildered, broken, and betrayed. Yes, Satan was granted time, and he used it with terrifying precision. He sowed seeds of destruction across hearts and nations. He darkened consciences and tried to extinguish the flame of faith. But here's the turning point. That time is over. We are now in 2025, and if the century granted to Satan began in 1917, then his reign's temporary permission is officially ended. What does that mean for us? It means that we've entered a new chapter, a decisive one. The book of Revelation speaks of this moment with chilling clarity. "Woe to the earth and the sea, for the devil has come down to you in great fury, because he knows that his time is short." Satan knows the clock is ticking, and that is why his rage is intensifying. He is desperate, his influence is crumbling, but in his desperation, he will strike harder than ever before. And so, dear brothers and sisters, we now stand at the threshold of what I call the hour of decision. There's no longer room for indifference, no more time for lukewarm faith. The Blessed Mother has promised triumph, but that triumph is not automatic. It depends on us, on you, on the choices we make in this critical moment of history. We cannot live halfway anymore. We cannot sit on the fence. Jesus himself made it crystal clear. "Whoever is not with me is against me." And today, those words echo louder than ever before. The 100 years are over, and now the time of the threshing floor has begun. We've now entered the hour of decision, a moment foretold through prophecy, confirmed by history, and felt in the unrest of our times. But where does it all lead? The answer is both sobering and full of divine hope. This, brothers and sisters, is the moment the prophets spoke of, the moment when God will separate the sheep from the goats, the wheat from the weeds. It is the hour of judgment and clarity, when the angels will be sent forth to gather those who have remained faithful, those who never bowed their knees to evil, those who stood firm in truth, even when it cost them everything. But let's not be naive. This time will not be easy. The final battle will be fiercer than anything we've known. Evil, knowing its days are numbered, will unleash its most desperate attacks. Like a cornered beast, it will strike with everything it has, left deception, chaos, division, but we are not alone in this fight. The Blessed Mother, our Queen, our warrior, our Heavenly Mother, has not left us unarmed. At Fatima, she didn't just offer a warning, she gave us the very weapons we would need to win this spiritual war. Tools not for the elite, but for every soul willing to stand with her. First, the rosary, so simple, yet so powerful, a prayer of peace, of battle, of deliverance. Every bead is a chain that binds the plans of the devil, every mystery, a sword that cuts through darkness. Second, penance and sacrifice, offering our suffering for the conversion of sinners. Every act of love, every cross borne in silence, becomes a lifeline for lost souls. Third, frequent confession, the cleansing of the heart. Fourth, the Holy Eucharist, or divine nourishment, the living presence of Christ who strengthens us from within. Fifth, Eucharistic adoration, to gaze upon the face of our Savior and receive light in the silence. And finally, consecration to the Immaculate Heart of Maria, total surrender, placing our lives entirely under her protection and guidance. These are not just devotions, they are weapons, they are lifelines, They are heaven's response to hell's assault. All across the globe, Mary is quietly gathering her army. But it's not an army of the powerful or the famous. No, it's an army of the humble, the faithful, the ordinary. Mothers and fathers. Teenagers and grandparents. People who pray in silence, who suffer in secret, who love without applause. They are people like you watching this now. Yes? You. Mary is not looking for perfect saints or flawless heroes. She is searching for willing hearts, hearts that will say, "Mary, here I am, use me as your instrument." If that call stirs within, you do not ignore it. It is your mother speaking. It is the King of Kings preparing his army. Everything we are experiencing today confirms the warnings of Fatima. The world is echoing with the cries of truth spoken long ago. Saint Maximilian Kolbe, who gave his life in Auschwitz, saw the beginnings of Satan's century. Sister Lucia, the Fatima visionary, foretold a final confrontation between the church and the anti-church, the gospel and the anti-gospel. And in 1980, St. John Paul II spoke words that shake us to the core. We are now standing in the face of the greatest historical confrontation humanity has ever experienced. This is not fantasy. It's not religious poetry. It is reality unfolding before our eyes. Look around. Confusion is called truth. Evil is paraded as good. Christians are mocked, attacked, even martyred in many parts of the world. Are these not the very signs we were warned about? And yet, even now, especially now, we are called to hope. The night is nearly over. The dawn is breaking on the horizon. The time of Satan has come to an end. God is preparing to renew the face of the earth. But before that great renewal comes a final purification. Yes, the battle ahead will be intense, the trials will be real, and sadly, many will fall. But those who remain steadfast, those who refuse to bow, who hold tight to the light will see the glory of God like never before. The Immaculate Heart of Mary will triumph, and with her, peace will rise, truth will shine, justice will be restored. So what can we do now, in this critical hour? Here are 3 concrete steps for every soul ready to say yes to God. 1. Consecrate yourself to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. Don't delay. Don't wait for a perfect moment. Do it today. Offer her your heart, your wounds, your joys. She will carry you to her Son. 2. Pray the Rosary every single day. It's your spiritual sword. Hell trembles at the sound of it. No dark force can withstand a rosary prayed with faith and love. 3. Return to the sacraments. Go to confession, attend Mass, adore the Blessed Sacrament, be found in the grace of God, because none of us know the hour we will be called to stand before Him. Brother, sister, this is not the time to remain neutral. This is not the time to stay asleep. The hour is now. The call is yours. The century of Satan is over. And now God wants to act. But He awaits your response. He doesn't need crowds. He needs hearts. He needs yours. Mary is calling you with a mother's tenderness. Christ is calling you with His burning love. The Holy Spirit is waiting to descend upon you with fire from heaven. If your heart is burning, don't hesitate. Type in the comments right now. Here I am, Mary. I want to fight with you. And above all, share this message. Let it ring out. Let it shake souls awake. It is time to wake up. It is time to choose. It is time to fight. Because in the end, the Immaculate Heart of Mary will triumph. If this message stirred something in your heart, don't let it fade. Comment below. Here I am, Mary. I want to fight with you. Let heaven know you are ready. Like this video to push this message through the noise. Share it with friends, with family, with everyone you know who needs to hear this. You never know whose soul may be touched because you took a moment to share truth. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel. Join this growing spiritual army. We are building a community of faith, truth, and prayer, and we want you with us on this journey. Turn on notifications so you won't miss the next message, because in the days to come, we will go deeper, pray together, and prepare for what's ahead. This isn't just a video, it's a mission. And you are a vital part of